Ooh. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for tuning in for another video. This is Derek back here again as always, and today what we're going to be kind of jumping into is getting my truck ready for a road trip that I'm going on. And by the way, sorry if I kind of sound tired or drained. It is because I just got done with the DMV. I was there for about 4.5 hours today trying to renew my license, so that's always a good time. All of y'all know about going to the DMV. It sucks. I'm getting my truck ready to go on a road trip. For me, I like to kind of prepare my vehicle before I go, just because first off, it's smart, and then second, it saved me from being stuck on the side of the road. I've been there too many times. So now I kind of just go through a few things. I check stuff over. I make sure I have the right tools that I need in case something were to go wrong, and check on my fluids, the standard stuff. We're going to be tackling first the oil change today, mainly because my mileage and everything where it's at is going to push me over when I go on the trip, so I'd just rather do it now. Again, it's one of those things where just kind of check all your fluids, make sure everything's kind of where it's supposed to be. If your oil change is kind of right about there and you're about to go on a 1,000-mile road trip, well, know that you'd rather do that oil change a little early than 1,000 miles late. Went over to my sponsor, O'Reilly's. And I'm totally kidding. I'm not sponsored by anybody. But we got Dello 400. This is the stuff I put in my diesel all the time. My brother put in his diesel, so that's kind of what I've always used. Got the big one. It's cool because they make a 2.5. So this whole thing goes into the truck because it takes 10 quarts. And then we got the Mobile One filter. I get whatever filter is kind of there. They were out of stock of the AC Delco one I always get, so not really a big deal. My truck's not lifted 10 inches, so I still got to use a jack to do an oil change, but that's all right. All right, y'all, so truck's jacked up. I'm about to start doing the oil change. I'm pretty sure most of you guys are already going to know kind of how to do an oil change, and if you don't, this isn't going to be the video that I go in depth on it, but as in depth of that I can really get on doing an oil change. But I know there's actually a few people that would benefit from an oil change video, the exact step-by-step, what do you do to save you from having to take it to a place to get your oil changed. So if you actually would be interested in that, drop a comment down below and I might actually be able to make a video like that, maybe a trans fluid one too. So that way it will get more people kind of doing stuff on their own instead of having to take it to a shop. But regardless, obviously I already showed you, I got my oil, got my filter, and then got my oil filter wrench. I'm gonna hop under there, crank it open, and get all that done. So let's do it. All right, so I was at full with kind of about 2 liters left. That's why I don't ever put the whole amount in. Whatever's needed, I always put a few, like a quart or something less, 2 quarts less, because then if it's too full, you got to drain it. So again, I checked it and I didn't even need this. It's literally at the perfect full mark. So I'm gonna cap this, throw this in the toolbox, and that way I have this on the drive out there just in case anything were to happen. So next thing, checking my radiator fluid. Another big thing that is going to keep your vehicle overheating, all that stuff. You want to make sure you check your radiator fluid. Mine's a tad bit low. If I didn't do anything with it, it wouldn't be a big deal, but while I'm here, I might as well top it off a little bit. All right, another one you want to check, power steering fluid. This one I'm actually nervous to check because I can guarantee you it's going to be low. That's because my steering box leaks. So this is probably, oh, actually it's fine. Never mind. Like I said, it's another install we got coming soon, is the power steering box on my truck. When I was putting on all the front end parts, the pitman arm sits on the steering box, and to get it off, I was a little too aggressive with it, and now it's leaking. So that's another video. But for now, like I said, you want to check the power steering fluid. It's usually pretty simple, and there's usually a little kind of dipstick on the actual handle like this. So I dried it off, put it in, take it back out, and it is at the, as you can see that, it is at the, I could fill it up a little bit more because full hot is up there, and it is on, I think it says add. So it's not too low, but again, you can see I could probably go about half a quart more, or about a quarter of a quart more. So another good thing to check right there, because that's another thing I've had an issue with in the past. If your power steering pump gets dry, that's a bad situation. It's going to be whining and crying, and you can't get anywhere. So again, power steering fluid, make sure you check that. Quick visual check on the brake fluid's never a bad thing. You can see this one's fine. Most brake fluid reservoirs are not something that's like a common thing that's leaking. Of course, unless you have an actual brake problem, then it's leaking somewhere or something. Usually the fluids are going to leak more prevalent, or just from driving them around, and sometimes the late radiator fluid, you'll lose a little bit, it'll burn off. Power steering fluid and your oil. Always want to check those three, those at the top. Of course, you want to make sure your brake fluid's on top too, though, because if not, then you're going to get air in the lines and blah, 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 blah. So that's another thing, check your brake fluid. All right, so this is pretty much the last thing that I check as far as fluid-wise goes, kind of like the bare necessities, is checking my transmission fluid. Again, this is just that extra step. Check it out, because transmission fluid is actually something that can give you a precursor if something's going on in the transmission. But that, again, can prevent you from breaking down somewhere or whatever happens. You can look at the color of the transmission fluid, and if it's if it's dark, or it has a bad smell, is usually what's going to give off that maybe something might be wrong. Usually transmission fluid is going to be pink, light in color. If you pull it out and it's black or it smells burnt, something's wrong. Oil it's a little more hard to tell, especially if you have a diesel truck, because I just put brand new oil in the truck, but after I start it for the first time, that's the last time that oil is ever going to look like oil. It's going to be black and sooty after I drive around the block. That's just how diesels are. So if I pull the oil and it looks black, that's not going to tell me too much. Transmission, though, is always the same. It's usually that lighter in color, and you'll be able to kind of get a feel of how your transmission health's doing. Not all the time, but it's kind of a good little 10-second check you might as well do. So we're going to do that next. All right, so that's most of the stuff that you want to be checking fluid-wise, under the hood-wise, and stuff like that. Besides that, this is just like a side thing. A lot of you guys might not want to do this. It's fine, but this is something that I've always done. Is I carry a little bag in my car that's got like a flashlight, first aid kit, CPR equipment, stuff like that. You never know what's going to happen. Again, roadside gear, flares, stuff like that. I don't have any flares in here. I might try to pick some of those up before I go, because again, that stuff's very useful to have on you if you need it. So like I said, just a little backpack, got stuff. At the minimum, I definitely recommend at least getting a little flashlight, because if it's in the dark, you could have all the tools in the world. How are you going to work on it if you can't see? So definitely get a flashlight. Then what I want to do is go over my toolbox. This is the stuff that I bring with me. Again, I would bring this with me even if I didn't have the toolbox. I've done this before. I get like a Tupperware container and put everything in there. This is a weather guard toolbox. As you can see, this is I keep right here on the back of the truck. Definitely one of my favorite things I've had, just because I can now, all the stuff that I used to keep back here, I can kind of keep in here. So I'm going to go over like the few things that I like to carry on me. Definitely I carry like just a little thing of sockets when I go on a road trip, a good set of cables, and all my fluids. So oil, tranny fluid, power steering fluid, all that type of stuff. If your car had like this, I carry this one wrench as a 21 millimeter, because I know that a lot of my suspension equipment is a 21 millimeters. So if I was in a situation where I needed that, this is all I need. I don't need any other size. Of course, I have a few other sizes, but that's kind of the gist of the whole thing. You don't need an entire garage worth of tools in here, just the stuff that happens to fit the vehicle you're driving, just a few things like that. Like I said, most important is those fluids and having a set of jumper cables just in case your battery dies. Again, something simple that could put you pretty stranded. So that's kind of the few things that I like to carry back there. Nothing too crazy. I'll probably throw my impact in there just for the drive. I don't usually keep anything too nice in there. Just some basic stuff. Besides that, the last thing that I'm gonna do is go around every tire and check all the tire pressures, making sure that you're where you need to be. If it's low, look into making sure your tire's okay, blah, 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 blah. This is all simple stuff. Just check your tire pressure. And then after that, the last thing I'm gonna do is jack it up one more time. And I like to do a quick visual inspection on all the suspension parts. The reason I like to is because I've had, again, this is all from experience, I've had suspension parts fail on me as I've been driving. So it's just kind of a good thing to check again once over. Hey, this isn't looking right. Let me go grab a part real quick, throw it on, it's good. Or hey, this bolt is backing all the way out. Let me tighten that thing up and be ready to go. Again, these are all things that I don't like being stuck on the 10 freeway at 2 o'clock in the morning in the middle of borders of Texas. You know, I've been out there and stuff like that. So it's just not fun. So be prepared, have the stuff you need to do, I maybe spent an hour checking all this stuff. All said and done, when I check everything, it's gonna be about an hour, and that's with an oil change. So you might not even need to change your oil. So quick inspection, look through everything, grab a few things, throw it in the back so you're prepared in case you need that stuff. A few tools, you can buy a little socket set at Home Depot for $100-something bucks. Always have it with you just in case something does happen. So that's kind of just what I wanted to show you. Quick, basic stuff to make sure you're prepared to go on the road. Now I gotta get rid of all this oil, take this to O'Reilly's, dump this in their little back station. As always, repping O'Reilly's, that's my brand. The amount of stuff that I've gotten from them is pretty ridiculous, actually. So that's really gonna be it for the video. I just kind of wanted to make a good overview of what to do kind of when you get ready for a road trip. I've been wanting to make this video ever since I went to Texas, and there's a lot of things that I wish I had that I didn't have with me when I broke down, and just a few other times that I broke it down in the past. Ooh. That sounded good, bouncing off that wall right there. But yeah, so back to what I was saying. It's just nice to know, hey, this is what I need, this is stuff that's good to have, and blah, blah, blah. A lot of this stuff might have been self-explanatory to people, but it just kind of gives you a good checklist, I guess. I forgot some stuff before, like I said, so just kind of helps to stay on top of that stuff. Make sure you don't break down when you're out there on the road and whatnot. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for today's video, y'all. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate it. I want to try to get more content out there that's going to be exciting, you know, bigger turbos and all that type of stuff, power mods and wheels and tires, like all these things that I want to do. It just, that stuff gets expensive, especially over time, so. I had a verge over a lane right there. But that stuff gets expensive, so I'm hoping that in the near future I can kind of start getting towards that level and being able to provide that type of content. But yeah, enough of my rambling. Thank you very much for tuning into the channel. I appreciate all y'all. Make sure to go ahead and drop a subscribe down below, please. I appreciate every single one of you. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow for the next video. Peace.